Hello everybody, welcome to Art with Jim. This week we will be looking at the artist Cezanne and his still life. Cezanne is a famous French painter, sometimes known as the godfather of modern art. He was less concerned in making something look real. Instead, he wanted to make something feel real. Through composition, bright color, and bold brush strokes, he wanted it to feel like the fruit was sitting there right in front of you. It was important that his paintings weren't stiff like photographs. He wanted to feel like the picture was moving, and depending on where you looked, it might be a totally different point of view, almost like he was painting the same thing from all different parts of the room. That's why you'll notice some of the lines don't match up or seem crooked. It wasn't that he couldn't draw. He's just showing you a different point of view. When Cezanne said, "With an apple, I will astonish Paris," he meant it, and he actually did. Alright, let's get our supplies together. First, you'll need a nice sheet of paper. I'm using watercolor paper, and I cut it down to a square because, hey, I love squares. You'll need a pencil to draw, a piece of fruit to draw from. I'm serious, a real piece of fruit. You'll need Mod Podge, which is like kind of like a glue, a paintbrush, and then a place to put the Mod Podge. I'm using foil. Some different colored tissue paper. I cut mine into little squares. And then black paint, a place to put that paint like a little bowl or another piece of foil, and then a small paintbrush. Finally, you'll need some tape, and I'm using the tape here to make a tape frame so that I could peel it off and have a little bit of magic at the end. Okay, I think we're ready to get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a tape frame. So you can see here I have nice and long pieces of tape to go along the edge and to cover my four sides of the paper. So let's draw a peach. Remember, peaches aren't perfect, so my shape can be imperfect too. Kind of lumpy and bumpy. It's closest to maybe a circle or an oval, but notice here that bumpy edge, right? I think I captured that perfectly. You can see there's another little circle where the stem maybe can come out of, but no stem, so I'll just draw that circle and maybe that little dimple. Check out the shadow, right? You could really see the shape. Kind of like an oval with a bump. So let me go ahead and draw that in too. That's important. And then on the top here, you can't see where the table is, but I can. So I'm going to draw that line going right across here as well. Once I have a drawing I like, I can go ahead and start to add the Mod Podge. So here's my Mod Podge here, and I'm just going to pour a little bit onto the foil. I went ahead and grabbed a bunch of different colors here to fill in my still life. Right? I'm not going to be using paint. I'm really just going to be using this colored paper and try to fill in all the different areas. So notice here the colors on the peach. I'm going to try to use paper that kind of matches that. And remember, a lot of different colors can make a picture. So feel free to mix and match and to experiment. Cezanne certainly would. So once I have colors that I like, you can see here, I'm just putting Mod Podge down with the brush and then putting paper on top. And then guess what? More Mod Podge. So that's a Mod Podge sandwich. You do Mod Podge, paper, Mod Podge, right? And look, you can kind of see through the colors. So where those two pieces of orange mixed, it got a little darker. So check out, I notice there's a little bit of red on the right side of the peach. So go ahead and add red. Now, if you don't fill out the lines perfectly, right, it's a little bit off, you can tear the paper here a little bit into smaller pieces to get the shape you want. Remember guys, it will not be perfect, and in fact, it will look more like Cezanne's work. So again, add more glue, add some yellow because the left side is a little bit more yellow, and then I'm overlapping paper here. It looks beautiful in my opinion. I cannot wait to see yours. Now that the peach is filled in, I'm going to tackle this stem here, or maybe I should say where the stem would grow out of. So I'm going to take a little bit of blue paper, right? Because all I see is really dark, and Cezanne loved color. So let's go ahead and add that little blue piece. Wow, that looks really awesome. What color would you choose? All right, I'm noticing a little bit of detail. There's little red spots, so I'm going to go ahead and add those little details in. Right, Cezanne would be using paint with big, thick brush strokes, but we're going to be using this bold paper here, and I just tore it down into smaller pieces. All right, now it's time to fill in the shadow here. So check out, I'm going to be using some of these darker colors that I have. I have some dark blues and purples, and I want you to notice that the shadow, right, is darker than the table. So look at this, I tore the piece and it's almost perfect, right? It's rounded. So again, you add your glue, and then I put down the dark paper, and check that out. It matches up almost perfectly. It won't be perfect, but almost is perfect for this project. Next, I'm going to add some fuchsia color, because why not? And it's kind of like I'm blending paper instead of blending paint. All right, this is probably the biggest step, is just to fill in that entire background. So I'm just adding squares of purple, fuchsia, blue, whatever you want just to fill it in. I do recommend though that you mix colors together because it will just be more interesting. And honestly, that's how real life is. It's usually not just one color. It's a lot of color mixed together. As I'm putting down the paper, I'm trying not to cover up the tape either. Remember, I'm going to be pulling off the tape. So the squares are a perfect shape just to kind of go right up against that line of the tape. If you accidentally put down a piece that's too big, like I'm about to right here, you can see it just covers up the peach a little bit. But don't worry, you can glue down the parts that you like and then just simply kind of fold it up. You can see here, and the glue will work perfectly, right, to get it stuck back into place. So rarely do you get it right the first try. You might have to kind of adjust it as you go, but that's all part of the process. And you can see here, I'm doing an okay job with it. Okay, now I'm just going to add a thin layer of glue kind of over the whole background, make sure everything's stuck nicely together. Okay, a little bit of black paint here. You can see I'm using tempera paint and a small brush. This is my favorite step. You can see I had a line here before which kind of disappeared under the tissue paper. So what am I doing? Well, I'm just bringing it back with black paint. And Cezanne would sometimes outline his pictures in black paint. And you can see here, wow, it is making those colors really, really pop. Just be careful though, because remember, can you erase paint? Yeah, exactly. It kind of is a one-way street. Once you get paint down, it is there, especially black. It will be hard to erase. And then I'm even going to draw my line around the shadow. Whoa, this is awesome. I could fill in the background with color, but you know what? I'm really loving this black paint, so I'm just gonna fill it in and check this out. It will really pop. That dark black paint makes that purple look even brighter. Okay, last step, pulling off the tape. So I let things dry, and now I'm just pulling off the tape for a very nice, clean edge. It's like I framed it. Wow, what do you guys think? I really love my artwork, and I feel like Cezanne would too. Okay guys, I will see you next time.